Okay, they've gone ahead and issued now a tornado warning for Lafayette County. There's going to be an abundance of caution that the Weather Service in Memphis will be using this evening, and we can't blame them. When you have some of these reports coming out, like we've had out of some of these thunderstorms, where it just doesn't really look impressive on radar, you got to be extra careful, and so that's what they have done with this. And so this tornado warning does include the city of Oxford, and does include those folks that now are on winter break but might still be there over winter break on the University of Mississippi campus. So we're looking at a rotation on this that would be just a little bit north of Oxford, but certainly we're watching along this line. And because what this might be more than even anything else is just the fact that you get some straight line winds that are coming 60, 65, and then they accelerate just for that long, and now you get 70, and maybe it spins something up quickly. I'm going to, rather than doing a point track like what we usually do and saying it's 1 point moving forward, I'm going to track along the line here just so that we have that extra bit of caution, because anything that pops up will be relatively short-lived, and it's not to say you couldn't have something else that ends up spinning up over that time here. So let's track this toward the north and east. The speed on that is about 65 miles per hour. A reminder, if you lose your signal, you're watching right here. We do stream live at WTVA.com/live in this sort of situation. I'm on Facebook Live as well down there, so you can follow along with that and join the conversation. And John, if you would, pull up the Facebook Live over there as well so we can get your storm reports. The folks you reporting there, unfortunately, we're going to have to go a lot with you this evening on some of those storm reports. We appreciate those you sent in, but I mean, because the radar is a couple of moments old and because this changes so quickly, that's where we're going to have to rely this evening on some of your storm reports here. So this is a tornado warning until 10:45 that does include northern sections of Lafayette County. It does include the city of Oxford. And John, when you get a moment here, if you would pop up one of the MDOT cams there in Oxford, I'd appreciate that. And so as you can see there, Oxford, and we're now talking within the next 5 to 7 minutes, a tornado warning for you as that circulation, which is just to your west, approaches. And we will try to get probably on the phone with our meteorologist, Joel Young. Joel, I know you're watching there at home, and if you would give us a storm report, go ahead and give John a call. We'll put you on speakerphone. We'll get you on that way this evening. Appreciate you for doing that in advance. Let's look at the wind mode on this. We're going to probe it from a couple different directions there. There are some signs of circulation just to the west. There are two areas there where there's a little more circulation. If you go back just a couple of scans here, back to 10-12, right there, that's the kind of brief circulation that the folks in the Weather Service have confirmed from time to time back to the north and west, at least a couple of reports of damage on. And so that's why, out of that abundance of caution, that maybe this is that situation again, that they're watching it.
And these are happening behind
Go ahead and John, your microphone is open, just so you know.
You want to talk to Matt? Hey.
Is that Joel? That's Joel. Okay, let's go ahead and I'll borrow your phone. I appreciate that. Our meteorologist Joel Young on the ground with us in Oxford, and John, we'll pull up that MDOT cam. I believe he has one of those up. And John, Joel, tell us what you're seing at this moment.
Right now I'm just off of Highway 6, off of the frontage road, just between Lamar and Old Taylor. And the wind has obviously shifted out of the west now, so I think this is probably the front that's coming through. I can hear the tornado sirens. I was looking at the radar, and it looks like the rotation would be going just north. It's going to probably be between College Hill and Oxford. I think you would probably agree with that, Matt.
Perfect. I'd put it right on College Hill Road right now. I'd probably put it on right on College Hill Road at this moment. Go ahead.
Right. Winds have definitely picked up out of the west here in just the last few minutes. I believe that's mainly the passing of the front. And we've talked about how the front, just in the passing of the front, is going to increase the winds itself. I'm getting a big gust right now. It seems to be more out of the west, northwest right now. I'd say it's probably at about, I would say about 20 to 30 miles per hour right now. But temperatures dropped a good bit right now as well. I've noticed
so now you're in one of two things. You're either in the RFD, which we'd expect to be a little bit warmer, or now you're undercut by the front.
Yeah, I think I've definitely been undercut by the front. Temperatures dropped probably, I would say, at least 10 degrees, maybe 5 to 10 degrees since I did my live stream just a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's noticeably colder. And even since I stepped outside just a minute ago, it seems to be getting colder. And we've talked about how this front is going to drop the temperature real fast.
Absolutely.
That shouldn't be a surprise. But
from your vantage point, from your vantage point, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, just a question.
You're fine.
From your vantage point, do you see anything, I mean, outside of the typical, okay, we have some spinning in the clouds, do you see anything that resembles the structure of a wall cloud or something along those lines?
I'll be honest, no. All I'm getting really is a strong north wind, and I'm looking up here, and I'm kind of obstructed by trees a little bit that run along Highway 6. But I'm not seeing anything that appears to be structure, much structure to the clouds. I mean, it's all just really cloudy, and you're seeing the light from the city reflect on the clouds, so it's kind of hard to really mention anything out as far as cloud structure.
Yeah, I agree, Joel, and that's one of the challenges. You and other spotters are going to have. It's at night. You wait for lightning. There's not a ton of lightning out of these, and then you're trying to look at low clouds. And, I mean, coming in, that's an issue. So stay with me just a second, Joel. Here, I'm going to go over what we're looking at here. Now, at this moment, we do have rotation on Storm Track Doppler radar now near Highway 30, just north of Oxford, that could potentially be attempting to develop at some point into a tornado. And that rotation is moving east at about in the neighborhood of 65 miles per hour or so. We cannot confirm debris, and at this moment, from your vantage point, you have not spotted it. I want to check with John, make sure nothing's changed in that regard with this thunderstorm. Our meteorologist, John DeLucic, monitoring those reports. John?
Getting from our North Mississippi weather spotters, we are looking at folks reporting power out on the west side of Oxford now.
Okay, power outages?
Jeffrey with them is reporting power out on the west side of Oxford.
Okay, so that's power outages on the west side of Oxford, and that makes sense from all the reasons that Joel's just mentioned here a moment ago, looking at this thunderstorm, is the fact that now we're looking probably right here, just a little northeast of Oxford. That's where our circulation would be there. But the reason is these winds are going to be knocking some power lines together, and sometimes, even if it's not taking down power lines, as it knocks them together, it can blow a transformer, and that can knock things out. At your location, Joel, do you still have power?
We still have power. I'm actually pulling out right now. I know the rotation's on the north side of town, correct?
Yes, it's, I would say, northeast of town at this moment.
I'm going to try to get into a position where I can actually look out and see a little bit further, just get away from some trees and different obstructions from buildings.
Honestly, I don't know that you're going to catch it. It's moving 65 and right.
Either.
Right, yeah, but I'll appreciate whatever you can give me. Just be very, very safe while doing it.
Absolutely.
Okay, I'm going to hand you back over to John. Right now, I would put, just for your spotting purposes, near Abbeville's where I would put the rotation at this moment, just north of Oxford. I would still keep you in your tornado safe place. If you live in Oxford, I'm going to pass you over to John for a moment. Thank you so much, Joel, for calling in. Appreciate you doing that, and be safe, okay? Okay, so tornado warning does continue for Lafayette County. That tornado warning is mentioned in effect until 10:45 p.m. The rotation on this has pulled a little farther northward. I still want to keep you, if you live in Oxford or if you go to the University of Mississippi, in your tornado safe place for a few more minutes here, just to be abundantly safe. And let's talk about where that tornado safe place is for folks who are ahead of this circulation. And this will be crossing into Union County here shortly. Let's get a track as well in the background there. While we're talking about these tornado safety rules, so that we can specifically mention some of the folks there that we're dealing with, and it's not going to let me pull that out. But sturdy structure, we want to go to the lowest floor, we want to find a room in the middle. We want to wrap up in blankets and pillows, make sure that volume's up on your TV so we can give you that information, tell you when you can come out from your tornado safe place. But of course, tell them, we want you to stay there until we can give you the all clear. Tornadoes tonight are not likely to be ones that set down and stay down for 30 minutes or that completely destroy a town. But it doesn't take that to cause damage to your property and to possibly injure you. And that's the reason why, even though this is not a high-end tornado event, it's still one that we have to take seriously, as these rotations can spin up very quickly, and so we have to be on guard because of that fact. So continuing to monitor our northern storm, and as we mentioned, the Weather Service watching these, and they go in and out pretty quickly. Now that storm that previously prompted the tornado warning that started our coverage off a little bit ago up into northern sections of Tippah County, they have extended that as a severe thunderstorm warning. There have not been any other reports of damage out of that as of yet. If you do have those reports, we are monitoring our Facebook live stream here. You can, of course, send in your damage reports through that as well, and we appreciate your assistance. And we appreciate all the folks who are still ahead of this, your patience. There's going to be a lot of ifs and maybes and some questions on this because this is not a standard tornado setup. And so even as meteorologists, we've looked at a lot of these thunderstorms over the years. This is a challenge on radar alone to say that's exactly where it is and this is where it's going to go next. So for most of us at this moment, we're still in the waiting and see. And for most of us, the gusty winds that we have out there just out of these thunderstorms themselves are notable and could potentially cause some damage. Even on my way into work a little bit ago, there was some tree damage out there due to some of these wind gusts that we have. At this moment, the wind gust in Oxford out of the north and west, a special update coming from that site in the last couple minutes, 46 miles per hour. And so strong winds, you can see that change in wind direction there. That is the cold front moving in, and as that cold front moves in with it, it undercuts these. So as soon as this clears Oxford, as soon as this clears your location there in Lafayette County, your tornado threat is done, because the rotation, the warmer air that it needs to ingest to keep a tornado like this going, it can't suck that in after the cold front comes in. And so some of these damage reports we've been getting so far will be from straight line winds, even though there's been a little rotation, because it's difficult to get that rotation. Believe it or not, it's a difficult dance to get it to form officially a tornado. So the National Weather Service in Memphis continuing the tornado warning for Lafayette County. They have adjusted that warning just a little. Let's go ahead and zoom it in. And what they have done, and I think what we kind of anticipated would happen, they've now eliminated Oxford from that tornado warning simply because the part of that thunderstorm showing the rotation has now moved far enough north and east so we can bring you out of your tornado safe place if you live in Oxford. The Kiel community there, this is not pixel to pixel wind change. It is strong enough that, and honestly, this has been one of our more sustained rotations. Most of this evening it's been 1 or 2 scans, it's there and then it's gone. This one's still showing up there at this moment, and it has for probably the last 5 or 6 scans, which is more impressive than most of these thunderstorms have been. The path on this, you take it in the direction of Myrtle, and we're looking toward possibly Cotton Plant and some locations that direction. Now, no guarantees this is a tornado. It has definitely broadened out just a little bit. And as that broadening occurs, it has to be tight. It has to be pixel to pixel. It's not just rotation up in the thunderstorm. That is happening because of the way the atmosphere is structured today. But it has to be that pixel to pixel wind change to actually produce the tornado. So going with about 65, I'm going to up that. John, can we safely go 70 on this?
So I do believe so. These storms are going at a very good pace.
Okay, so we'll go 70 miles per hour on that forward motion on this. Thankfully, it looks like even the last scan, it's weakened just a little bit more. At that motion, we would have it in 7 minutes into the Darden community. We'd be looking at Myrtle in about 11 minutes. And Blue Mountain, if it held together, in about 18 minutes. And Ripley, kind of on the north side of this, at about 23 minutes. I think Myrtle closest to in the track of this, though it has had a little erratic path. It's pulled a little more north over the last scan or two than it previously had. Analyzing, and we're just gonna have to take a moment here and let's look along this line ahead because things change quickly. When a storm's moving 70 miles an hour, that's more than a mile a minute. And I do show a little. We're gonna look at this a couple different radars here near Faulkner there, and you can see one rotation there near Ripley at this moment as well. Let's go ahead and John, double check that report coming in, the positioning on that in a moment here. I'll bring you in on that. Okay. Right. Near Ripley there, that's still fairly broad rotation. Let's see if the Memphis radar has a better grab on it. Still shows up. We'll have to watch this pretty closely. One area there near Ripley, one south of Blue Mountain as well. I mean, there's enough strong winds aloft on this that we're going to get some brief rotations aloft. It's just a question of whether or not they all make it down to the surface. So current time is 10:30 p.m. Meteorologist Matt Lobhahn alongside meteorologist John DeLusick. Tornado warning does continue for Lafayette County until 10:45 p.m. You'll notice that our other warnings popped off the map there, set to expire at 10:30. Weather Service is going to have to make a determination as to whether or not to extend any warnings for those locations here in a minute. And you notice even back behind here all these bright pinks and greens. That indicates some of the strong winds associated, not necessarily with rotation, but just with the front moving in. And the strong winds with that will be 45, 50 miles per hour. So we're going to have some sporadic damage. Make sure if you are ahead of this still in Algoma, Pontotoc, Bruce, down for Houston, Guntown, Tupelo, Boonville, Corinth, it might be a little too late, but we definitely, if we didn't have all of our decorations taken care of and made sure that they were in good shape last night, you got to do it this evening before it comes through because they're definitely going to blow around, and certainly it's still been pretty breezy at this point. Now I'm going to bring in our meteorologist, John DeLusick. I have you on camera here for a moment. And John, looking at this latest report coming in, what are your thoughts?
West of Corinth.